Sir, you can start.
Okay, അപ്പോൾ ഏതായാലും തുടങ്ങാം. ഞാൻ ഇത്തവണ ലീനിയർ റിഗ്രഷനിലേക്ക് പ്രവേശിക്കാമെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചു. റിഗ്രഷൻ 2-3 സെഷൻസ് എങ്കിലും എടുക്കേണ്ടി വരും, ഒരു ഓവറോൾ വ്യൂ എങ്കിലും കിട്ടാനായിട്ട്. So I'll start with the basic assumptions and basic approaches in regression. Try to build up. As you know, linear regression എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പലർക്കും നേരത്തെ exposure ഉണ്ടാവും. It is an approach which tries to look at 2 or more variables and the association between them, of which one is called the dependent variable. Dependent variable ne മറ്റുള്ള വേരിയബിൾസ് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതാണ് നമ്മുടെ അസംഷൻ. അപ്പോൾ അത് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഒരു ലീനിയർ ഫാഷനിലാണ് എന്നുള്ള അസംഷനുകളുള്ളതാണ് ലീനിയർ റിഗ്രഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ലീനിയർ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ എല്ലാ ലെവലിലും ഉള്ള the influence of one variable on the other is generally kind of uniform. That it is not dependent on the level. So that something you can represent in the form of a straight line. So on a 2-dimensional representation. So that is why it is called linear regression. Regression എന്നുള്ള വാക്കിന് കുറെ ചരിത്രമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്, അതിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ പോകുന്നില്ല. Anyway, this is linear regression. So we have 2 types of variables. One is called dependent variable. അതിനെ ചിലപ്പോൾ അതിന് predicted variable എന്നും പറയാറുണ്ട്, predictionൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. And the others are called, one or more are called the independent variables or predictor variables or explanatory variables. അങ്ങനെ പല പേരുകളുണ്ട്. Depending on the situation, we can call them any of those names. പക്ഷേ ഈ മോഡൽ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഈ റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് എങ്ങനെയാണെന്നുള്ളത് സ്പെസിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഈ ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളാണ്, ദി ഇൻവെസ്റ്റിഗേറ്റർ ഓർ ദി സയന്റിസ്റ്റ് ഓർ ഹൂവർ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ്, അനലിസ്റ്റ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഹൈറ്റ് ആൻഡ് വെയിറ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ വി ക്യാൻ സേ ദാറ്റ് വെയിറ്റ് വിൽ ഡിപ്പെൻഡ് ഓൺ ഹൈറ്റ്. അപ്പോൾ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ സ്പെസിഫിക്കേഷൻ. ഹൈറ്റും വെയിറ്റും തമ്മിൽ അസോസിയേഷൻ ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് സ്ഥാപിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ യു ക്യാൻ build a model which which specifies that weight will depend on height. പക്ഷേ height will depend on weight എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാം, പക്ഷെ അത് it will probably not make much sense. So അതുകൊണ്ട് that is why it's important to specify the model correctly. അത് നമ്മുടെ പ്രീവിയസ് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസും എല്ലാം വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So in this I will try to do 3 things generally: introduce concepts and teach how to use R to create regression models, and discuss elementary notions about comparing and evaluating models. ഇത് മൂന്നുമാണ് ഇതിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. So linear regression starts with what is known as simple linear regression, where there is only one dependent and one independent variable. Generally both are continuous variables. നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ റിഗ്രഷൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത് when the predicted variable or the dependent variable is a continuous variable. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള സിറ്റുവേഷൻസിലാണ് linear regression യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. മറ്റേ വേരിയബിൾ either it can be a combination of continuous and grouping variables, or it can be just continuous variables. അപ്പോൾ സിമ്പിൾ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഏറ്റവും സിമ്പിൾ കേസിൽ there is one continuous dependent variable, one continuous independent variable. ഇപ്പോൾ so there are 3 things regression tries to do. One is estimating the size of the relationship. അതിന്റെ പാരാമീറ്റേഴ്സിന്റെ സൈസ് ആ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ സാമ്പിൾ വെച്ചിട്ട് we are trying to estimate the true relationship, how strong it is, etc. Second is exploring relationships. ഏതൊക്കെ വേരിയബിൾ ആണ് ഇതിനെ അഫക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ശ്രമം. So that is called exploratory kind of approach. And thirdly, we are predicting the level of the dependent variable using this model in a similar but different context. That is, ഇതേ മോഡൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് പുതിയൊരു സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ ഡിപ്പെൻഡന്റ് വേരിയബിൾ പ്രിഡിക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. അപ്പോൾ മെഡിക്കൽ സിറ്റുവേഷൻസിലൊക്കെ അത് ഒരുപാട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ബോഡി ഫാറ്റ് നമുക്കൊരു ചില വെയിങ് മെഷീൻസിലൊക്കെ നമുക്കറിയാം, അതിൽ കയറി നിന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ബോഡി ഫാറ്റ് കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. അത് കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് it is passing an ultrasound into the tissue and then calculating the impedance and all. അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് ഒരു റിഗ്രഷൻ ഇക്വേഷൻ വെച്ചാണ് നമ്മുടെ ബോഡി ഫാറ്റ് അത് പറയുന്നത്. ശരിക്കും ബോഡി ഫാറ്റ് കാൽക്കുലേഷൻ വെരി കമ്പർസം, അണ്ടർ വാട്ടർ വെയിങ് ഒക്കെ നടത്തണം. അത് നമുക്ക് സാധാരണ നിലയിൽ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അപ്പൊ അതൊരു സാമ്പിൾ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ആ ഇക്വേഷൻ ഉപയോഗിച്ചാണ് നമ്മൾ predict ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So that is, prediction is an important part of linear regression. That is why linear regression is also used in machine learning approaches, where prediction becomes all important and all the other things become less important. നമ്മൾ അതിലേക്ക് അധികം പോകുന്നില്ല. നമ്മുടെ പഴയ ഡാറ്റ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് കാർസ് 93 തന്നെ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ട് we are trying to do this. So we want the packages called Tidyverse and Broom. അത് ഇൻസ്റ്റാൾ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ അത് ഇൻസ്റ്റാൾ ചെയ്യണം ഇത് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ്. So what I would advise is, when you're installing a new package, do it outside this markdown script, because markdownൽ അത് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ അതൊരു ഭയങ്കര കോംപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ആണ്. So but after you have installed, you can use the so I will just run this chunk and see. So what I've done is, using this Cars 93 from the package mass, I have just taken a look at the data set. It has many variables, 93 units under, in the pala miles per gallon, weight, engine size, horsepower, other kind. So what we are trying to do now is trying to predict the miles per gallon in the city. So the horsepower miles per gallon തമ്മിലുള്ള correlation മാത്രം നോക്കുന്നു, just for exploratory purposes. So we get the correlation as minus 0.67, which means that horsepower കൂടുന്തോറും miles per gallon കുറയും. നമ്മുടെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസിൽ നിന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പൊ അതിനൊരു ന്യൂമറിക്കൽ ലെവലിൽ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു എന്ന് മാത്രം. And this is the 95% confidence interval, minus 772, 0.9772, minus 0.54. So this is, so there is a moderate to strong negative correlation. So correlation on the matram, you don't know what is influencing what. So that is something we have to specify. So for second level, what you can do is, we can do a plot. So you using ggplot, you can give the aesthetics as x is horsepower and y is MPG city, and then use geom point. Geom point is the code for scatter plot. Then you add a smooth smoothener, that is a line or a whatever that just gives a relationship. So here you are using the method LM. LM means linear model. So, and we can specify the standard error as 0, because you don't want a band around the line. So other run ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ, first of all, the correlation is this one, and okay, what happened? Okay, so this is a plot that you're getting. So this blue line is the smoothener, or the line which represents the regression. As you can see, it is sloping downwards and to the right, which means that as the x-axis, whatever is on the x-axis goes up, the whatever is on the y-axis will go down. So horsepower increase ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ mileage കുറയും. അതാണ്, that is what is represented in this negative relationship. So in R, the formula is written like this, MPG city tilde horsepower. So the first one should specify the y variable, and the second line, second thing should specify the x variable. So simple linear regression ayadonde otta variable e ullu, and we can use this in the LM command. LM again means linear model. MPG city tilde horsepower, then you specify the data. Data is Cars 93. then you put it into an object called model1. നമ്മൾ ആറില് റിഗ്രഷൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ you save it as a model, and ആ മോഡലിൽ നിന്ന് പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഓരോന്നായിട്ട് എക്സ്ട്രാക്ട് ചെയ്ത് എടുക്കുക. അങ്ങനെയാണ് എല്ലാ ഔട്ട്പുട്ടും കൂടെ ഒരുമിച്ച് എടുക്കുന്നതിനേക്കാളും this is more convenient. So whatever we want, we can extract from that model object. അതുകൊണ്ട് മോഡൽ ഒബ്ജക്റ്റ് പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ടൊരു പേര് കൊടുക്കുന്നതാണ് എപ്പോഴും നല്ലത്. So here we are using model1 because we have only one explanatory variable. So if you run this, and then we can check the names and the coefficients of the model. So we can run this whole chunk. So names means the model or objects and components, coefficients and residuals and effects. You don't have to worry about all this. So only things important one is coefficients, fitted values, etc. Coefficients command coef COEF model1. We get this intercept 32.7 and horsepower, that is the x variable we are using, minus 0.07. So that is the what is known as the slope. Intercept in the indicates the point at which regression line cuts the y-axis. That is ഈ y-axis-ൽ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് ചെന്ന് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എവിടെയാണോ ഇത് കട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ you see in this particular picture, they are not starting from 0, they are starting from 50 because ഇതിൽ ഈ ഹോഴ്സ് പവർ 50, 0 ഹോഴ്സ് പവർ എന്നൊരു സാധനം ഇല്ല. അതുകൊണ്ട് 0, they are only in this range where the horsepower is represented, they are showing the line. So ഇതിങ്ങനെ കൊണ്ടുപോവുകയാണെങ്കിൽ 0 ഹോഴ്സ് പവറിൽ it will be 32. അതാണ് ഈ കാണിക്കുന്നത്. It doesn't make any sense. 0 ഹോഴ്സ് പവർ എന്നൊരു കൺസെപ്റ്റ് ഇവിടെ റെലവെന്റ് അല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് അതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് you don't have to worry. But ചില situations it may be important. And the what is 0.07? It is the slope. That is, it shows how the line is sloping for every unit of the x value variable, how much reduction in the y variable is happening. So that is the slope. So that is what coefficients mean. So we have extracted the coefficient. So it is minus 0.072, which tells us that for every increase in horsepower of 1 unit, mileage reduces by 0.072 miles per gallon. So in this, you have to remember that the units are sometimes important. Either x variable and y variable are different units like measure ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതിന് തമ്മിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ വേറൊരു യൂണിറ്റിലേക്ക് മാറുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ ഈ സ്ലോപ്പ് തന്നെ മാറിയിരിക്കും. സോ അതിന് വേറെ ചില പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ട് that we won't consider now. So 32.75 intercept, or what is, it cuts the y-axis, which means when x is 0, that is the value of y. But in this particular case, this x is 0 doesn't make any meaning, so we don't consider that. So ഇത്രയും പറഞ്ഞതിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദ്യം ഉണ്ടോ?
സർ, നമ്മുടെ വേരിയബിൾസിന്റെ നോർമാലിറ്റി എന്തെങ്കിലും റോൾ ഉണ്ടോ? റിഗ്രഷൻ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നോർമലി ഡിസ്ട്രിബ്യൂട്ടഡ് ആയിരിക്കണമെന്ന് എന്തെങ്കിലും നിർബന്ധമോ അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും?
സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ അസംഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട്, ഒരുപാട് അസംഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. Not only that it is they are normally distributed, but they are also homoscedastic, which means അതിന്റെ ഈ especially explanatory variables ന്റെ standard deviations are similar എന്ന് അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയുള്ള ചില assumptions ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. അത് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. we can check അങ്ങനെ വളരെ ക്രൂഷ്യൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള റിസർച്ച് ഇതിനു വേണ്ടിയുള്ള റിഗ്രഷൻ ഒക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ അതൊക്കെ ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. പക്ഷെ സാധാരണ നിലയിൽ, and they also say that regression is a very robust method in the sense ഈ assumptions ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും ഒരു പരിധി വരെ അതൊക്കെ വയലേറ്റ് ചെയ്താലും അതിന്റെ റിസൾട്ടിന് വലിയ വ്യത്യാസം വരില്ല. സോ ഇൻ എ വൈഡ് റേഞ്ച് ഓഫ് ഡാറ്റ വി ക്യാൻ യൂസ് ഇറ്റ്, എസ്പെഷ്യലി വെൻ ദ ഡാറ്റ നമ്പർ ഇസ് ക്വൈറ്റ് സഫിഷ്യന്റ്. അപ്പൊ കുറച്ചൊക്കെ വേരിയേഷൻസ് വന്നാൽ നമുക്കത് മൈൻഡ് ചെയ്യണ്ട. പക്ഷെ വളരെ സ്ക്യൂഡ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അതിനെ നോർമലൈസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും യൂസിങ് ലോഗ് ട്രാൻസ്ഫോർമേഷൻ or something. So all those things we will consider later. So this equation can be used to predict what is the mileage in a new car. Suppose we know that a car has a horsepower of 60. Then you can put in this numbers here, 32.75 plus minus 0.072 into 60. We predicted as 28.43. So 60 horsepower ഉള്ള ഒരു കാർ in this similar ഇതേ ഫാമിലിയിലാണെങ്കിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ similar situationലാണെങ്കിൽ we can expect around 28.43 miles per gallon. So this is how you predict. Of course, there are other things like your confidence interval and all, which we will come to later. So this is the predicted values. What is meant by the predicted value? So if you look at the predicted value for each of the x values, each x value in a predicted value that may not be actually the y value in our data set, but predicted value using the regression എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. എന്നിട്ട് അതെല്ലാം കൂടെ ചേർത്തൊരു വര വരച്ചാൽ we will get a horizontal, we will get a regression line, and we can also add a horizontal line at the mean of the y values. If you can just see this, let explain. ഈ പടത്തിൽ is the same പടം. Horsepower is on the x-axis, MPG is on the y-axis. ഇതിന്റെ mean of the MPG-യിൽ ഞാനൊരു horizontal line വരച്ചു. That indicates the mean. So നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ഈ y വാല്യൂ മൈലേജിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഒന്നും അറിഞ്ഞുകൂടെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പുതിയ ഒരു കാർ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പുതിയ ഒരു യൂണിറ്റ് വരുമ്പോൾ our guess about its mileage will be near around the mean, because namakariam we have learned that if it is a normally distributed variable, 68% we have seen that, and 68% of the values will be one standard deviation either side, and then two standard deviations cover around 95% and all that. So nearer to the mean aanu eppozhum koodudal seriyavan sadhyatha nammada prediction. So that is called the x value or expectation of y. So expectation of y എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ just mean of y എന്നുള്ള അർത്ഥമേ ഉള്ളൂ. അപ്പം mean ആണ്, ഇതാണ് mean, and then you have this red line. Red line is the predicted line. നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ വരച്ച ലൈൻ തന്നെയാണ്, പക്ഷെ അത് ഓരോ പോയിന്റിനും ഓരോ എക്സ് പോയിന്റിനും ഈ നമ്മുടെ ഈ പ്രഡിക്ഷൻ ഇക്വേഷൻ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് ഒരു y പ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്താൽ ഈ ലൈനിൽ ആയിരിക്കും. So this line is there, and so for each of these sample cars, if I do ആദ്യം തന്നെ ഈ എക്സ് ഒരു ഈ predicted line ഒരു ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് ഉണ്ട്, predicted line നിന്ന് പിന്നെ ഈ പോയിന്റിലേക്ക് ഒരു ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. So the whole total distance of each x point from the mean is divided into two segments. One is the point from the mean to the predicted, and from the predicted to the actual data point. So അതാണ് ഇതിൽ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യം. So the mean represents expectation, and the actual value is what we get in the data. So the mean will be the value around which we will place our best guess for a new situation. And from this mean, for the actual data, we have two parts. That is, the fitted line represents the best guess about y given the information x. So idipo the mean or if we know nothing about anything, we will guess this around the mean. But if we know something about this one variable, horsepower, then we can use this predicted line as the expectation. So we are actually cutting down on the distance between the mean and the data point. So we have come some distance, but there is still a lot of extra error or residual here. So that is what is most important. So this is how we have to explain. So the fitted values correspond to the regression line, or in other words, the regression line is the line joining the fitted values. So some of the points are close to the fitted values and some others are distant. So the fitted line represents the best guess about y given the information x. So if we know x, we can have a better guess, and that better guess is represented by the regression line. So the fitted values are the values estimated by our regression equation to correspond to each level of the independent variable. So this is built up of two components, that is distance from the mean to the fitted value and distance from the fitted value to the actual value. So I can just, you can forget this code. I mean, it is just to demonstrate. It is not important to learn that code, but I have just tried to demonstrate. So this is the, suppose you take this point, ഈ കാർ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇത് മീനിൽ നിന്ന് ഇത്രയും ഡിസ്റ്റന്റ് ആണ്. അപ്പൊ ഈ ഡിസ്റ്റൻസിനെ രണ്ടായിട്ട് തിരിക്കാം നമുക്ക്. മീൻ ഇതുവരെയുള്ള ഡിസ്റ്റൻസും അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ്. So this is important. So this is called partitioning the variance, which will come to that very soon. So points representing the y values fall equally above and below the mean as to the points on the line also. So there will be, if you take the distances from the mean and then you distribution of vertical distances of each point from the mean can be taken to measure of the variation in y. So this is, these points are varying around the mean. So that is variation of y, or this is the mean, and this is all these variations. When measured, they will represent the variance, and so that is the variability of y, or variation in y. So if we take average deviation, it will be 0, because ഇത് രണ്ടും ബാലൻസ് ചെയ്ത് പോകും. മീനിന് മുകളിൽ കുറെ ഉണ്ടാവും, മീനിന് താഴെയും കുറെ ഉണ്ടാവും. So if you can just check that using, first of all, we can look at the distribution of this. So this is the summary of the distance, the difference between the actual points and the mean of the points. So you will see that the mean of this differences is around 0, because it will balance out, and the minimum difference is -7, maximum difference 23.6. So there are minimum and minus and plus variation is there. So, and if you take the mean, if you take the sum of the mean, that is, if you add the minus, the negative deviations and the positive deviations, that should also be around 0. But here, of course, it's slightly different from 0 because of rounding problems. And if you can also draw the histogram of these differences, which should normally be more normal, but here there's slightly skew, but it's okay. ഇതേപോലെ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ഫിറ്റഡ് വാല്യൂ മീനിൽ നിന്നുള്ള ഡിസ്റ്റൻസും ഇതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. So that also should be centered around 0, because again, no, the mean is 0, because again there is both positive and negative deviations from the mean to the fitted values. So this is also 0. Mean is distribution and all that. So exactly like this. So you ask, what I'm trying to say is that so total distance is divided into 2 parts. One is the distance from the mean to the line, and the distance beyond the line. So the regression is said to explain this much of variability. So it explains part of the variation, and then there is a part which is not explained. That is called the residual. So that is what is the essence of regression. Okay, our idea clear aya. Any difficulty in understanding that? No. Okay, so then we'll proceed. So these are all vertical distances from the mean. So vertical distance എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ horizontal line എടുത്തിട്ട് അതിൽ നിന്നുള്ള നേരെയുള്ള ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് ആണ്. So we have to, if you square them, because ഇതെല്ലാം we just take the distance, the differences, and sum, that will be 0, as we have seen. But 0 കൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് വലിയ പ്രയോജനം ഇല്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് what we do is we square them and sum the squares in order to get a positive estimate. So this is called the sum of squares from the mean, or sum of squares. Sometimes it is in some of the output you will see just SS, that is called sum of squares. And it's the sum of the square distances from the value of y. So that is an important concept in statistics and regression especially. അപ്പോൾ ഈ സം ഓഫ് സ്ക്വയർസിനെ നമ്മൾ പാർട്ടീഷൻ ചെയ്യാന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. So it's partitioned into one part, that is the explained part, which is represented by the regression line, and the other part, which is the residual part, which is not explained by the regression line. Just because we want everything to be positive, we square it. So we can calculate the square of the sum distances by running the script. So the second part, difference from mean model into raised to 2. Difference squared mean model 1. So that is what is important. So it is the maximum is up to 5. This is just the normal differences. This is a squared differences. So you get something like 558. And അതുപോലെ തന്നെ fitted in the distance in them squared differences നമുക്ക് നോക്കിയാൽ then you get 127. So this is 558 and this is 127 maximum. So now we can sum these two things. Let us find the sum. So the sum of squares from the individual points is 2905, and sum of squares of the fitted part is 1314. So that much part is explained. So sum of squares of the actual values is greater than the sum of squares fitted values. And the regression has partitioned the sum into explained part and the residual part. So the ratio of the sum of squares of the difference from the fitted values to the total values is called the, that gives us an idea of the quantum of variation that is explained or captured by the line. So if the y values are close to the fitted line, then this ratio would be very high, and if the y values are away from that fitted line, it will be very big, it will be very small. So it is indicated by the fitted line has not captured variability. So it cannot never be more than the, the maximum is 1. So 100% in the 1. So this value is generally called the explanatory power of the model, and this is what is generally abbreviated as R squared. And you can easily do it by, we already have these two values, and you can just calculate the from manually from these just to show. So it's 0.452. So this is exactly what we get from the output also. Just summary of the model, we get all these output, and here somewhere you have multiple R squared is 0.45. So this is what we got by manual calculation. So it's exactly the same. But ഇതിൽ ചെറിയൊരു catch ഉള്ളത്, ഈ multiple R squared എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, if you add more variables, R squared will just go up. It doesn't mean much. So you have to adjust for the number of predictors. So adjust ചെയ്ത് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ slight വ്യത്യാസം വരും. അത് നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ X variables ഉള്ള situationൽ we will understand how it is different. And then you have an F statistic and a p-value. This p-value is for the whole regression, which means the regression itself is significant. And these p-values are for the individual coefficients. The intercept is different, significant, and the X value is significant. So everything is significant in this. Okay, so any question? Okay, so now you know what is R squared, and so this is so the second part is residuals and the standard error. So after you get what is left behind. So the difference between the total sum of squares, that is SS total, and the explained part of the regressions, that is the regression sum of squares, എന്ന് പറയുന്ന രണ്ടും തമ്മിലുള്ള വ്യത്യാസമാണ് residuals. So we can actually look at the residuals from the summary. Summaryയിലെ ഒരു in the script is slightly wrong. I think parenthesis should close here. Let me see whether I'm right. So each one shows the residual from each point of belonging to each point. And അതിന്റെ summary values ആണ് ഈ കൊടുത്തേക്കുന്നത്. Again, minimum, mean will be around 0 again, and maximum. And we can actually take the residuals, square them, and look at the mean. All that we'll come to that. So this is so far we have just looked at one explanatory variable. Now we can introduce a situation where you have two explanatory variables, and one of them is a grouping variable or a categorical variable. So let us see what happens. So we have one variable called origin, which says whether the car is a US car or a foreign car. So other തമ്മിൽ വ്യത്യാസം ഉണ്ടോ എന്നുള്ള ചോദ്യമാണ്. So we can actually look at the variable first, and then look at the distribution of miles per gallon by that variable. So just exploratory kind of stuff. So this is how it looks like. So US cars have around 20.9, and non-US cars on an average have 23.8. So there is a big difference on mean miles per gallon, and big difference in this standard deviation also. 48 cars are from US, 45 from non-US. So this is representing the box plot in a horizontal fashion. You can see non-US, the mean, this is represented in the median of this line. So it is higher than the median in the US cars, and there are some outliers also here. So and then finally you have this table which shows yeah, that's what we have seen, the standard deviation and all that. So, okay. So non-US cars have on an average higher mileage. So this is what we have learned. So we have now two explanatory variables. One is horsepower, the other is the origin. So we can put both of them in the model called model 2, because there are two explanatory variables. So just in R it is very simple. You just add MPG city tilde horsepower that's put as model 2 and then you of model 2. So if we run the script, what we get is so we get that this origin is also significant. So what we also find is that the R squared has improved. So the multiple R squared, it is improved from 0.45 to almost 0.5, 50%. But when you adjust for the number of variables, it is not so high, but it's still high, 0.49, 0.5 ആയിട്ടില്ല, but it's slightly less than the. So this is on the face of it, this is seen as better from the model 1, and of course all these things are significant. So when comparing 1 and 2, you can say 2 is better. So what we see is that the intercept has also changed. It is 31.3 here. It was 32.7 in the beginning. So it's a completely new model. So 31.4 is the mileage and horsepower is 0 and origin is 0. So this is the meaning of this particular regression when you have one grouping variable. Now when a grouping variable is added, R classifies that as 0, 1. If it's a binary variable, it is coded as 0 and 1. When you write out the expression, so all the zeros will cancel out. So and horsepower is, this intercept is when everything is 0, and the beta coefficient associated with horsepower is minus 0.07. It's almost the same as the last one, but beta coefficient associated with origin is 2.37. So the last term, that is the beta coefficient associated with origin, needs some explanation. That is when we add a categorical or factor variable in R. So in R, should make sure that the grouping variable is a factor variable. Otherwise, if it is just taken as 0 and 1 numerical variable, then you won't get the right output from the regression. So if it's a grouping variable, please call it as a factor variable. So it is coded as 0, 1. So if it is a binary, it's coded as 0 and 1. So 0 will be considered as the reference group and 1 will be considered as the referent group. So 0 is USA, 1 is non-US in this particular situation. So they are sometimes called dummy variables also. This term dummy variable is usually more used by social scientists, but it's okay. I mean, we can also use it. So we substitute the terms in the equation to arrive at the mileage. So if you substitute for the US cars, it will be, the origin will be coded as 0. So 31.4 plus minus 0.07 into 75. Suppose it's a 75 horsepower car, then 2.37 into 0. This will become 0. So it will just cancel out. So it will be 26.15 miles per gallon. But in the other group, it will be 2.37 into 1, which will be 2.37. So this group will be 2.37 higher than the, so 28.52 miles per gallon. So the dummy variable for non-US origin is coded as 1. So this is how you calculate the equation in the two groups. The difference between these two mileages is exactly 2.37. That is the coefficient for the grouping variable. So what this coefficient tells us is that the average difference is between US and non-US cars in mileage is 2.37, keeping the horsepower constant. So that is the important model. So this is also, so this is should be kept in mind. What it's saying is that 2.37 difference between US and non-US cars, allowing for the horsepower or keeping the horsepower constant. Similarly, if we compare two USA cars with horsepower of 75 and 80, then the equation becomes minus 0.7 into 75, plus again here it is 2.37 into 0 will be 0, so it's 26.15, and here again minus 0.07 into 80, because we are considering another car with 80 horsepower. Again, US car ayadondu but 0 and so 25.80. So you get such a, so difference between these two values is 0.35. So which is about 5 into 0.07. അതായത് ഇവിടെ ഈ രണ്ട് ഹോഴ്സ് പവർ യൂണിറ്റ്സ് തമ്മിൽ 75 and 85 units difference ഉണ്ട്. And that into the slope will be the difference between these two cars because they belong to the same group. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ മറ്റതിലും you get the same result. So this model, this tells us that the change in mileage per unit change in horsepower, keeping the origin constant, that is whether it's US or non-US. അത് constant ആക്കി വെച്ചുകൊണ്ട് x variable ഉള്ള y variable influence ആണ് slope എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So that is how that is interpreted. So we can actually make a graph on this. That is what we do is, first of all, you graph x and y, and you add color to as a map for the origin. So that will be something like this. Cursor where evideyaayirunnu. So now in this thing, you see that US cars have been coded as orange and non-US is greenish or turquoise. They have a higher mileage. So you get all the cars are non-US and these heavier cars lower, and the lower cars are all, and these orange cars are all US. So you can visualize this by coding color, mapping color onto the grouping variable. So actually in ggplot2, you have the facility to map so many things to the grouping variables. You can group even other variables if you have more variables like type of car or whatever. So we can use shape and size and all that and map several things to the same points. But of course, that is not our aim here. So we have only two groups here. So this is green and I mean turquoise and orange. So then how do we construct the regression line through these separate groups, US and non-US? So we can do that by adding a, you take this model, this is plot model 2, then add a geom line and then The aesthetics, you say that X is horsepower and Y is the fitted values of the model. So when you use the fitted values for the two groups separately, then you get a plot like this. So the higher line, which shows the non-US, is turquoise, and the lower line, which represents US cars, is separately given as a orange or reddish line. So this is called the parallel slopes model. Parallel slopes model, because as we have seen, we are saying that the difference between these two groups is always constant. It is about 2 point whatever in the between mileage between these two groups. So whether it is 2 or not, we will come to later. But right now, this is known as the parallel slopes model. So we have a model where we are saying that the difference is the same at every point, and we have two groups. So this is a model with one continuous variable into one grouping variable, and it is captured as the graph. So ഇതുവരെയുള്ള എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ? Okay. So again, you can calculate this and say that the group means differ from the the code of 30. So again, you get the 2.37 as the difference between the calculated difference between the groups. So the mean. Now, how do you know which model is better? Now, we have already seen one way of doing that. That is looking at the explanatory power, which is the R squared value or the adjusted R squared value. So there are other ways also. I will just talk about one more way of doing that. So now we know that if you compare the R squared explanatory power of model 2 with that of model 1, we find the following. So we can just look at the different R squared and the adjusted R squared for model 1 and 2. So we just run this, we get for the R squared value, it is 0.45 and 0.497, which is about 0.5. But when you adjust, then it is 0.44 and 0.48. So you know that in every situation, the model 2 is better than model 1. So that is one way of assessing whether which model is better, how much is the explanatory power. So that is one value, one way. But as I told you, R squared tends to increase even if you just put in some nonsense variables also. So to adjust for that, we have some. We don't go into that adjustment part right now. It is a statistical thing. There's a formula for that and all. I won't. But there is another way of looking at it, what is called reduction in standard deviation. As I said, the standard deviation indicates the variability from the mean. And when you fit a line, that standard deviation is reduced, and what is residual should be less than the standard deviation, because you're already explaining part of the variability. So that, how can we do that? The difference and they explain the sum of squares from the total sum of squares is called the residual sum of squares. Residual sum of squares we can get residuals from the model, then we can square them, and then you can add all of them. So the sum model, this is sum of squares. We'll just run this part to see what happens. So sum of model 2 residuals squared, that is called the sum of squares of residuals, that is 1461. Then you take the mean of that. So that is called the mean of the sum of squares of the residuals, 15, and then you take the square root of the mean. So that will be called as the square root of the mean of the sum of squares, and sometimes it's called the root mean square error or RMSE. In many textbooks and in outputs, you might see this term RMSE. That is 3.96. So that is what is left behind after predicting the model. This is standard deviation, and that is sometimes technically called the standard error of the regression. So the reduction in the standard error of regression compared to the original standard deviation is also an indication of how good the model is. We can just look at this. The standard deviation of the original data, y value, that is 5.61, I don't know. Then when you get the, we get manually calculated, it's about 3.96. And from the summary, extracting what is known as a sigma. If you just look at the summary model and this part called standard error 4.029. But if you want to get that, you just have to give this command summary model to $sigma. So sigma means the standard error of the regression. So you can directly extract from the model summary model to $sigma will give you. I mean, this is very close. This is a slight rounding error there. That's all. It's 5.6. It is reduced to around 4. So that also shows how much it is useful, how much the regression is useful. So these two approaches, one is the explanatory power and reduction in the standard error. These are two of the ways in which you can assess the regression model. Of course, there are other approaches which we will probably go into later. But right now, you ask me whether one model is better than the other. I would say look at the R squared, just R squared, as well as the standard error of the regression, which is usually given by the sigma. And if you look at the two models with respect to these two parameters, you'll be able to get a fairly good impression about which model is better than the other. So I think that is all for today. So the error reduction is very important, because error reduction again in machine learning, error reduction on our focus. They don't look at other aspects. They try to bring down the error by so many techniques, and other advanced. We won't go into all that. So basically, this is the fundamental or step one in to approach to regression. Of course, I will explain more about other types of models in the coming sessions, but I think at this point we will stop. സംശയമൊന്നുമില്ല. കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? Okay, then I'll stop sharing because